All right, y'all, so today should be pretty quick because we've actually already done a build video on this. Although it doesn't look like it, this is just our LeBron James build that we made just the other day. So if you haven't seen that video, you can go check it out. It's on the channel. Now, I'm only a 94 overall, not a 99 overall. Now, what I mean by maxed out is that every attribute that we invested into purposefully when we made this build is maxed out. Everything that I wanted this build to do when I made it, I'm doing it because all of that is maxed out. And I'll show you exactly where we're at with the build and where the attributes lie right now. But I also don't have full gameplay for you guys because I don't have a full squad, and going into the wreck with randoms is just not great. As you can see, I only have a bronze plaque right now. I had a gold one, then I get silver, then bronze, and then back to gold, and so on. Now, I've gone into the wreck with homies with gold plaques and even red plaques, but I only have 2 homies max, so we don't have a full squad. Going into the wreck with randoms is still going into the wreck with randoms. It's hit or miss, and honestly, it's usually just miss. So that being said, we'll jump into the builder. I'm gonna give you guys highlights. We're gonna work our way down from the top, just going through everything, and I'm gonna tell you guys a few things that I would maybe change about this build if I could, or if I remade it. However, I don't really think I even have the points to do that, and I do think this build is very, very good and will probably work throughout the whole year. Ultimately, we don't know, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but I am really enjoying this build. So all of that being said, a like, a comment, a sub, some of it, none of it, any of it, whatever you guys do or don't want to do, I would appreciate it, and I would love for you guys to be a part of whatever it is we have going on here. So let's get into it. So this is where the build stands right now, where it's at right now, and the gameplay you're seeing and all of that. Now, close shot and driving layup are just there by default. I didn't even purposefully invest into those. They're just there by default. Now, I do think layup will be viable and usable later, and I think it'll make this build funner and like better, but it's not something I purposely invested into. But default small, just like last year, I was a big supporter of it. I really believed in it, and I believe in it this year as well. So I think that'll be really fun, and I think it'll make a difference. But again, it's just not something I invested into purposely when making this build. When I made this build, I invested into everything pretty much you see maxed out, and I want to show you guys that it's doing exactly what we built it to do. So obviously everything here all maxed out. Interior defense is not. Now, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, and again, I only put that there because it was a LeBron James build, so to speak, at least. So interior defense, I put it up. I thought it made sense. I think it'll make a difference, I'm sure, but it's not necessarily in the play style. I'm at the 2, not the 3 or the 4, so it's not a big deal. I didn't level it up in terms of content. Plus, I have a new 6'9" build, Bam Out of Bio build coming for you guys, and that one has the interior defense and everything, so I'll highlight it in that one. Obviously, the rest of the defense is leveled, and then for rebound, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference going from 49 to 53 D board, and to be honest, this might be something I would change, and we'll talk about it when we get into the builder. And then obviously with physicals, they're all maxed out. Strength has been a huge thing. It was the last thing that I leveled up, but we'll jump into the builder. I'll give you guys a rundown of everything and give you the highlights, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so first I want to say this. The only thing that I would change about this build, if I could, would be agility, I think. Now, if you guys watch 2K Toots super rad channel, he gives a lot of information, but agility helps a ton, it seems. I honestly haven't had a build with higher agility than 75 yet. I only have 2 builds. One's a 6'7", the other one's 6'9", Bam Out of Bio. So I haven't had anything with crazy high agility yet, but based off of the test that 2K Toots did, agility helps a ton, not just with left to right movement, but with like off ball movement in any, whether it's offensive or defensively. And what I mean by that is like being able to quickly turn around and recover defensively, let's say, or being able to move faster off ball and get like a jab step or a juke or whatever you want to call it, and then taking off. Agility seems to help with that a lot, and where I feel like I may lack on this build is in that. Now, 75 agility is still good, and like I don't know if I'd go lower. I don't know if I'd go higher. I think I'd go higher, but I haven't been able to experience it myself. But again, it seems like it helps in a lot of different areas, and I think it's going to be a pretty big deal this year, even more so than like I initially thought. And maybe I'd be quicker defensively if I had higher perimeter. I don't know, but I don't feel like I'm lacking defensively at all with the perimeter either, and we'll talk about it when I get there, and I'll show you guys clips. But like the perimeter, I feel good, and the reason I feel so good is because strength is such a big deal. Now, strength was a big deal last year, but perimeter was so overpowered, or so much more of a big deal, that you didn't have to have strength. But now I have lower perimeter, yes, but I have a pretty high strength, and that strength has been getting me some ridiculous stops defensively on the perimeter, in the paint, wherever it is. I'll show you guys all the clips. It's been a big deal. Now, I believed in strength last year, and it did the same thing, but again, perimeter was just so good by itself that you didn't need the strength. I think what's cool, and maybe what we'll be able to do this year, is yes, going lower perimeter, but again, we're taller, we're bigger, right? And I'm at the shooting guard, so most guys I'm getting against are like 6'6" at the most. I think I've only had like 167, but most of them are like 6'3". They're small guards, and that's just right now, right? That's just the beginning of the game. We don't know how it's going to be in a week or whatever, but being taller and having the lower perimeter, it feels okay, and I don't feel like I'm lacking. And then having that strength to help there as well is not only helping me on the perimeter, but it's helping me offensively. Not only with being able to get bulldozer animations or whatever, but strong handle, again, another 2K Toots video, go watch it, seems to have like 3 badges in one. I think it was like a blow by, bulldozer, and physical handles. Now I don't know that that is true per se, but it does seem like it has that, and if you watch the 2K Toots video, you'll see examples of that. But that being said, strength is helping me defensively and offensively, whereas perimeter defense is only helping me defensively. So not to say that it's not worth investing into, but either way, on this build, in terms of what I would change, it would really just be agility, and I'd try to get it higher. Now that being said, I don't feel like there's much for me to change. I honestly, with my playstyle, like if it wasn't going to be LeBron James, let's say, I'd probably put down the dunk, because I don't really care too much to have. Like, having dunk is fun, and being able to use it is fun, but you can get away with like a much higher standing dunk. Just like last year, I would go 36.75 or whatever it was. I'd probably do something similar here, or maybe only go to 50 driving dunk or something, save some points there, and then invest those into agility. And I think it'd make the build a lot better and quicker, but I'm not totally sure. But again, that's the only thing I'd change in this build, and the only thing I'd be willing to sacrifice myself based off of my play style is probably driving dunk. I want shooting to be there. Pass accuracy feels great, whatever. So either way, that's the only thing I would change. I'll get into it. We'll start from the top. We'll work our way down. I'm gonna give you guys highlights. We're gonna make this quick. Close shot, didn't invest into. Driving layup, didn't invest into, but I'll show you a couple layups if I have them anyways, just to show you. Now again, I do think that default small is going to be a good package. It is a good package, and I've seen people with higher layup, or their layup at least invested into, that are running default small, and it has good animations. And to be honest, if you're going for a layup anyways, and the same if you're going for a dunk most of the time, or at least it should be, is like you're open, like you're not going for that in traffic, especially if you have lower layups. So what I mean by it's viable and it's usable is it just like, if you get by your defender and you're there, it's gonna still give you a good package and not give you like a shitty slow one. Basically, that's it. Driving dunk 87. Now this has been fun. Like I said, dunking is fun. Dunking is always fun, and having it in your arsenal is a good thing. Being able to attack the rim effectively allows for you to pop out more as a shooter and get more open shots, right? Like if I'm getting backdoors all the time, or I'm breaking up on a defender and they're collapsing on me, now I can step back, and with my 92, 83 shooting, I can confidently shoot as well. So 87 driving dunk has been really fun. Yes, I've been getting bodies. So that being said, if you're just looking to catch some bodies or get some good dunk meters, the 87-75 combo actually is very, very good. Now again, I only went to that just because that's what I heard, but I'm using it. You guys are seeing clips. It's been very good. It's been very fun. Even got some big putbacks, as you guys can see right here. So it's been really fun. Standing dunks up at 53. Now I only went to 53 because Laker fans was at 53, and I hadn't hopped onto 2K Labs or into the builder, or no, into the animation settings yet, and just seen what you unlock. But you don't have to go to 53. You're not going to gain much by not, but you probably only have to go to 45 or 50 just to unlock those 2 standing dunk packages, just like last year. Those have been working fine as well, but honestly, my driving dunk is like what's always popping up there. Very rarely am I actually getting a standing dunk animation, but having it is better than not. That way you don't get stuck under the rim on a bad catch or something, and then you don't go up and dunk, you just go up with a crappy layup, you know? So it is worth having. Might as well just put it up to that minimum threshold if you're gonna have the driving dunk high as well. 84 post control. Now you guys can look at the badges over on the right, but again, if you want more detail, go look at the other video on the build. I'm just trying to give you guys highlights and show you what the build is capable of doing now that it's maxed out. So 84 post control, yes, you get the post fade phenom Hall of Fame, but it's been working really good for me. I enjoy it. You guys are seeing clips here. I enjoy it. I think it's worth it. I always think that post control is worth it. For me, I just love being able to rely on a post fade, and a lot of the time I'll back down and I'll do a hop out and then I'll pass it. And I'll do that a couple times, and then on the next one I'll go for a shot, or vice versa. So it's kind of just playing with that, and you know, then they think, oh well, he's not going to do anything here, he just keeps passing out, he's just killing time or looking for someone or whatever it is, and then the next one you hit a shot or whatever. So it's just a way to get into your bag, and it's cheap, and it's almost like a free bucket, you know. So I think it's worth it. I love jumping into the post whenever I need it. So post control's up at 84. 92 mid-range has been really good. Now the dribble pull-up that I'm using that you guys are seeing here is DeMar DeRozan. Now I really enjoyed this one. I've got a few others that I've been using and labbing and trying to figure out as well. I actually think I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a video on the best dribble pull-ups animations, or at least what I'm running and why, and kind of talk about it. So if you do want that, let me know below. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, just because I don't know that it's totally worth it, or that like I'm the guy you should be coming to for that. But if you guys do want it, let me know, drop a comment below. 92 mid-range though has been really good. Shifty shooter, great badge, all of this. It's been really fun. It's been really effective. There's not much to talk about. 92 mid-range is 92 mid-range. It was great last year and it's great this year. When you can get into the mid-range and you can be effective, especially on a bigger build like this at 6'7" and at the shooting guard, with a fade and the mid-range, I'm usually shooting over my defender significantly. So the 92 mid-range plus the height has been really fun. 83 three ball has been so good. The shooting has felt so good this year. And I know a lot of people are kind of saying like, oh, there's been a lot of people are having trouble shooting. I don't think people are having trouble shooting. I think it's a new game and it's just not exactly the same as what they just came off of a week ago, you know? So they've just got to adjust and I think you'll be fine. Shooting, I think has felt great. And I think at at 83 three ball, right? Or bronze limitless range, let's say last year, you couldn't do what you can do this year. At least not in my opinion. I'm shooting from pretty deep with this bronze limitless range, and I did use my badge elevator now recently to put it up to silver, but I don't think I've had that on in any of the clips that you're seeing. But either way, even with the bronze, I'm shooting from so much deeper. I'm shooting with fades. Now, shooting with fades doesn't necessarily come from the limitless range. We've got the Deadeye, Shifty Shooter, and Set Shot Specialist, but I still think that you can do more with a lower three ball this year than you could last year. Like an 83 three ball last year and an 83 three ball this year, you couldn't do the same thing. This year you can do a lot more. You can consistently hit fades as long as you lab it just a little bit. Like it doesn't take much. Honestly, what the shooting feels like for me is I feel like it feels like what 24 felt like in the beginning of the year. I've got clips on some of my first builds in the beginning of the year on 2K24, and my go-to shot before the shooting patch in 2K24 was a corner fader with like an 83 ball or an 80. I don't even think I got limitless range on that build, but it was a corner fader was my go-to shot before the patch. And then after that, I could never hit a fader again. Barely ever. Even on my Kyrie build with like a 94 three ball, it was still so hard to hit those. So this year it's feeling really good. I'm really liking it. So don't be down. Don't think like, oh, I just can't shoot. It's hard this year. It's just a new game. I'm not the best shooter. I'm not the best player at this game. I nerd out in the builder. That's pretty much it. Shooting isn't hard. It feels really good. The best thing you can do is find a jump shot that works for you. Right? So one, don't try and be different. I used to try and be like, oh, I'm gonna be different. Don't try and be different. Go and look at the biggest creators, the biggest players, the best players, pros, whatever it is, and get their jumpers. Now you don't have to just use their jumpers, but like I've got like 6 jumpers from top creators or pros or whatever who play the game, and I've tried all of them. Majority of them didn't work for me, but one of them did, and now I'm running that. But before I used to try and find something myself, or oh, I like this. 2K Labs is doing tests for us, telling us the best literal jump shot statistically that you can use. Now, I don't use that one because it still just doesn't work for me. So again, like I'm not using it, although they provided it, but I did try it. Like I'm not gonna go and try and figure it out myself. So all that being said, find a jump shot that works for you. Don't try and be different. Find something that majority of the community is using because it's probably gonna work for you too. And then actually just get into the lab and shoot around and like feel it. Like you've gotta get into your my court and all that. And then also you can change your sliders in my court. So when you're shooting around in my court, if you hit start and then you hit down on the right stick, you'll see it in the bottom right of the screen. It tells you can change the sliders. So when I go in there, I change it to sliders to the rec because I'm always in the rec. But you can put it on Pro-Am, rec, wherever. There's a few others, but you can do all that. Change the sliders, put it to wherever it is you play most, and then shoot off of that and just get used to it. I don't think it's as hard as like people are kind of making it seem to be. Again, I'm not a great shooter, but I'm not having any issues shooting. I mean, I have the best percentage, but I feel fine with my shooting. So that being said, just find something that works for you and actually kind of lab it. It's a new game. It hasn't even been a full week, or maybe it has barely, but it's just not going to feel the same. And I think that's the big thing. Shooting actually feels really good and has been easy, so to speak. So 81 free throw. I've been hitting my free throws again. Like we don't get a badge for it necessarily, but I'm at 81. Sandy on his big man, if you haven't seen that video, he's on 81 or 80 as well. Like he's hitting like majority, if not all of his free throws. I'm hitting majority of mine as well. So free throw is free throw. I've got it at 81. I would say at minimum, I don't know, like 71 or 75. That's what it was last year. So I'm just going off of that. Pass accuracy at 75. I haven't been feeling any issues. Now, the only thing that I would say is that Dimer is a big deal this year. Now, again, I've only played 2K20 and then 24 and now 25, but in 2K20, and this feels so much like 2K20, but Dimer was such a big deal in 2K20. Our whole team would try to get Dimer Hall of Fame. The whole team, everyone, in 2K20 because of how important it felt and how important it was, at least for us. That's what I remember. That's my experience. But the only thing I would say with the 75 pass is that you could get Dimer higher, but you don't have to put it up to 82. You can just use your badge elevator and put that to gold if you want, or your max +1 or whatever it is. So I've had no issues with 75 pass accuracy. And actually on my center build that I just made, I also only have 75 pass accuracy. It is okay. Trust me, you guys have seen clips here and you guys will see the center build soon. 75 pass accuracy is totally fine. And you guys know me if you've been here. I'm a huge supporter, believe in pass accuracy. Was like, you should always have bronze bailout no matter what. 75 is more than enough, and just with the way the builder works and being able to have to get points, 75 is totally fine, and you guys are seeing it here. It is great. 81 ball handle. Now we're getting a little shifty on the 6-7. It's actually been really fun. Now ultimately, like, we still have to learn, right? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm labbing. I'm trying to learn new things as I can, but I felt fine at the 81 ball handle. And to be honest, I'm not much of a crazy dribbler, so I went to the 81 specifically to get those handles for days silver, as you can see. But I don't need it any higher than that because, one, I don't even know what animations are good, right? So I don't know what I'm trying to unlock. And then two, I don't dribble a ton, so I don't need any higher handles for days, so that way I can dribble more or anything like that. Ankle assassin, I mean, it's like ankle breaker. It's never been something people have really invested into or really like tried to get. Maybe this year, maybe, but on this build, 81 again, and we're not the primary ball handler. I love this build where it's at. I'm having a great time on it. I feel great. Again, the only thing I would change is maybe the agility, but I just don't see where I would be able to swap it out because there's nothing I'd really give up. But either way, the 81 ball handle has felt really good. And strong handle is supposed to be a crazy badge. I briefly touched on it with you guys a minute ago, but strong handle seems to have like 3 badges combined in it. And strong handle and strength, like, they seem to matter. They seem to matter, and I like that because those have been badges that I've always liked. Physical handles, blow by, and all that have been badges I've really liked. So being able to get that out of strength and ball handle is pretty cool. And based off of the 2K Toots video and just the information that's in there, I think it's totally worth it, and I'm glad that I invested into it, and I'm glad that I have it. Speed with the ball is up at 75. Again, I feel like that's totally fine, especially with, again, like your 6'7". So I honestly feel like, and I felt this last year too, but if you're taller, I think you're taking longer strides. So you may be slower, but you're taking longer strides. So it's like a weird thing. That's just like something I kind of nerd out on and think it may not be true at all, but speed with ball 75 feels totally fine. I'm having no issues, and I've got the lightning launch silver, and if I want, I can elevate it to gold. So 75 speed with ball is more than enough for me, and all of the animations that I have unlocked right now in SIGs, I like them all. So they've all been good. I think I only don't get one SIG that Koza has, and he's got like 91 or 92 ball handles. So right now I'm feeling really good at the 75 speed with ball, and it saves you the points to put elsewhere to have this build at least be more well-rounded. So interior defense, I put up to 60 to get the paint patroller bronze. Now you guys are seeing, I'm gonna go ahead and show you some clips from block here, or we'll just get down to block and then we'll talk about this, but I don't even have paint patroller yet, and I'm still protecting the paint very good. I don't even have pogo stick either, I don't think, and I'm still jumping like right after another jump like pretty often and decent, and still getting good animations. So something to consider. Paint patroller, again, I just invested in the interior just because it's a LeBron James build. It was probably cheap as well, so I just put the points there, but you don't have to get this if you don't want. Like, you're a shooting guard, you may not be down there ever, you know, or barely, so totally up to you. I don't regret investing into it. I think I'm still going to enjoy having it because I do crash rather than run the break, but it's not something I feel like you need per se in this position. So totally up to you. I don't even have it yet. You guys saw that, but I'm still getting really good contests, and I'll show you that in the blocks, in the paint and blocks and all of that. So I am excited to see how that will change once I get paint patroller. So 74 perimeter, you guys are seeing I'm guarding the ball pretty well here, but to be honest, yes, perimeter defense matters. I have a badge in every category. That's great. I can elevate them if I want. That's great. But strength is playing a huge part in this, and that's not even something that I just think, that's something I know, because strength was the last thing I invested into on this build. And my perimeter defense, when I didn't have strength compared to when I do have strength, even when my strength was just up to 73, made a huge difference. So we'll talk about it when we get to the strength, but 74 perimeter, I don't feel like I'm lacking at all. Now again, maybe I would be quicker defensively or able to recover more if I had higher perimeter or if I had higher agility. I'm not sure. We just don't know enough. but I still don't feel horrible. I don't feel like I'm lagging. I don't feel like a liability. I'm a decent defender on the sticks, like just in general. So 74, I feel totally fine. And the strength is helping so much. Steals up to 85. That's going to get us interceptor gold. Now, if you guys have been playing, you guys have seen people are getting ridiculous steal animations, especially on fast breaks. I am not getting those. Maybe I don't spam enough. I don't know, because there's just no, like, there was a guy last night with like 10 steals. Now, one, the center should have stopped throwing the break because he knew that they were just camping back there, or that the people running the break weren't running away from their defenders and were just staying next to them and just not running a good route, so to speak. So there's that. But this guy had like 10, 11 steals last night, most of them off of fast breaks and a lot of them just off of spamming. Like, I had 3 or 4 turnovers in the game as well. And on one of those, I remember I watched the guy because there was a guy in the corner and he was playing off of him. He was trying to play the lane, but I knew he was spamming, and he spammed. He hit X, his arm spammed, right? I threw it as soon as he spammed. He recovered, spammed again, and got the interception. So I think that, like last year, I didn't feel like steals needed a nerf. Yes, there was that one thing with the stick where you could just hit it up and get ridiculous lanes, but like other than that, it didn't feel like ridiculous. Right now, it feels ridiculous in my personal opinion. So I enjoy Gold Interceptor. I would absolutely leave this exactly where we're at. And if you want, you can badge elevate or max +1 the glove up to gold as well. I did that the other day and I didn't see any benefit, to be honest, so I put it back on limitless range instead. But 85 steal has felt great. However, I do think steals need a bit of a nerf because the lanes have been ridiculous, and not for me. I don't get crazy steals, but seeing the steals that some people are getting in all these games, and maybe they've got like 90 steal or higher, but it's pretty ridiculous. So 85 steal, totally worth investing into. Interceptor gold, really fun, especially like on this kind of build. You can kind of play low, or if you get swapped down low or whatever it is, like you're big enough to defend and you can play the lane, so it's super fun. Block up to 78. You guys are seeing we have a lot of chase downs and a lot of blocks, and again, I'm still getting good animations under the rim as well, almost like pogo sticks. So I think that block has always been worth investing into. This year, does it help you get contests on the perimeter? I would assume yes, but I'm not sure. It hasn't been tested. I don't have the information, but 78 block, totally worth it. 6'7" build with the silver high flying denier and like 85 speed. Like, I'm getting down there and I'm getting blocks. You guys are seeing it here, so totally worth investing into. I really enjoy it. Definitely a big part of my playstyle. I love playing defense, so having that block has been really fun. And I already had the vert up, right? So I already had the vert because of dunking. So even like if you're just thinking to make a build, right, in general, and I don't want to make this a longer nerd out, but if you've already got something up by default, like if you're investing in dunk, so you have to put up vertical, well then maybe you have extra points. Maybe you just put it into, you know, rebound to 60 to get the bronze, or block up to 68 or whatever it is to get the bronze or the silver or whatever it is, because you already have attributes up elsewhere that benefit that. Because usually, like, they go together, right? One goes with the other, and then together they get you a badge or whatever it is. So just something to consider, you know, if you're like, well, where should I put points? Well, if your vertical, let's say, is already up because you invested in a dunk, maybe put it somewhere that'll help you with that, whether it be block or rebound or whatever it is. Just something to consider. But that being said, offensive rebound. Now, again, this isn't something I would take off, but the animations I'm getting are cheeks. They are not good. But however, I will say though, what I have noticed on this build, and even on my Bam on a Bio build that I made, when you have momentum, you get a lot better animations in terms of rebounds, putbacks, all of that. So I'm not getting good animations. Like if I'm standing still and I jump under the rim, it's like my guy like has weights on his ankles or his knees are blown out, like he can't jump. But if I get some momentum, I get a ridiculous animation. And then when I played on my center the other night, like I was getting crazy animations, and Laker Fan actually put up a video as well. I think it was last night that I saw just briefly, but he was talking about this as well. So it's something I noticed. He talks about it in more detail in that video, but I would still invest into the rebound on this. I'm still getting a lot of rebounds, but to be honest, it's more just off of the bounce. It's not so much off of me jumping up and snagging it, but I would say that it's helping me. And I'm getting some games, I'm getting like 6 rebounds, 7 rebounds a game, and a lot of them are just off the bounce, but you're 6'7", you're down there. I think it's worth having. And again, vertical's already invested into. Offensive rebound specifically is super cheap, so I think it's worth investing into. I am getting rebounds. Hopefully there's enough clips here, or some clips here, but that being said, defensive rebound is just there by default due to our block, so that is what it is, whatever. And speed up at 85, high flying denier and slippery off ball. Again, I don't feel slow on this build, and I finally do have a motion style that I like. Again, a 2K Toots video, but D-Sharp motion style apparently from 6'5 to 6'9 is like the best one that you can run, the fastest one you can run. So I put that motion style on. I feel good. 85 speed, really nothing to talk about. It kind of is just what it is. So 85 speed, I thought it was worth investing into just this year. I've never liked being slow. I always like being quicker. So 85 speed is going to help you on defense. It's going to help you on fast breaks. It's going to help you on all of that. So 85 speed is where we went. Not really sure that I have clips of speed per se, but I think it's worth investing into. 75 agility. Now, again, if I were gonna do anything, I'd probably get this higher. Now, I already put it up higher than I needed to. I only needed 72 to get that shifty shooter gold, but I went 75 just because I was like, I don't know how much we do or don't need it. And I wish I had more points to make it a little bit higher. Now, again, this build's great, and I think it's gonna last. Honestly, I think it may last a whole year, and that'd be great because then we don't have to delete builds or make 100 other builds, and we can bring this build back out later in the year and whatever. But 75 agility, I don't feel horrible, but I think that it is what's playing a part in me not being able to turn around. And that's not just defensively, even offensively, when I'm trying to get like take off. I feel like from a standstill, you know what? Now that I think about it, I feel like everything from a standstill, because the rebounds from a standstill, you're not getting good animations. And then when I'm trying to take off from standing still in the corner, let's say, and then take a back door, I feel like it's taking me forever to like start. Whereas if I'm moving already and then I go, I get a lot better of a boost, if just a boost in general, you know? So definitely something to consider. I'll test that out and let you guys know more about that. But 75 agility, I feel good. I think I would want it higher if I could get it. But again, I love this build where it's at. That's the only thing that I would change if I had the points to do so. Strength 84, you guys have already heard me talk about it. I think it's totally worth it. And now I can show you guys all this stuff. Strong handle's been making a big difference. Brick wall and immovable enforcer have been making a big difference on defense. So I'm gonna show you a few clips here. They're gonna be defensively, they're gonna be offensively, but they all have to do with strength. They're showing strong handle, I'm showing box out beast, I'm showing immovable enforcer, and post powerhouse. So box out beast right off the rip, as soon as I put it on, made a huge difference. Once I put my strength up and got box out beast, it made a huge difference. And being able to box out, I don't need to get the rebound, but I'm boxing out and I can box out the big man effortlessly with just the bronze. That's great. And again, it feels so much like 2K20, because 2K20, you didn't even need the bronze box out beast. You just need a position and you could box them out. So this feels very, very similar. And box out beast bronze like made a huge difference. So in addition to that, we've got strong handle, which again, I haven't been able to experiment with a ton, because again, I'm at the 2, but I'm 6'7". So honestly, I'm usually at the 3, and then we're not running with homies. So I don't like coming in as the 3 or the 2 and then trying to push the ball. I always like to let the 1 push it. And then if they give it up or if they're just doing horrible, then take over. But I don't like when I go in as the 1 and then the 3 comes up and then they just try pushing the ball right off the rip. So I'm usually at the 3. So honestly, I haven't been able to experiment with this a ton, but based off of the video again from 2K Toots, it looks like it's a big deal. And I have seen a couple things with this, not only from like me playing, but watching other people play and watching Koza play and things like that. And he's only got like 71 or 74 strength, but I've seen it work for him as well. So I think that's going to be really fun later on, especially once we lab and we learn a lot more. Immovable enforcer helping on the defense has been a huge deal. As soon as I put my strength up, I saw a huge change on my defensive on the perimeter. It just plays a huge role, and it used to play last year. That's nothing new. Like a movable enforcer would play a huge role on my Bam Adebayo build from last year with super low perimeter. The way I would usually get clamps on the perimeter was a movable enforcer. So really good to have. I've always believed in strength, and it makes it fun, and it helps you in so many different ways. It's helping you with your ball handle with strong handle. It's helping you in the post so you can get better post animations. It's helping you with defense on the perimeter. It's helping you with setting a screen so your point guard or whoever can get open. It's helping you get box out so it's helping you be a better teammate. Strength is a really good all around, helps you fully across the board. I really believe in it, and I think it's totally worth investing into. And with my playstyle, it just makes sense. But once I put it up, man, it's had such a huge difference on the perimeter, seriously. Not to say that you shouldn't invest in perimeter defense, but I'm glad that I did invest into strength, because had I not invested into strength, I don't know that I'd love the 74 perimeter, to be honest. Whereas last year, again, perimeter was so overpowered that you could have 74 perimeter, no strength, and as long as you were decent, you could clamp it and you were good. So maybe that's the case this year, but again, you got to consider, right? Vertical 75, that's just 75, right? You guys have seen dunks and rebounds and all of that and blocks and all that. You've seen the vertical work already. So kind of lost my train of thought there, because as I was talking, I saw that I hadn't hit vertical yet, and then I had to jump to it. But strength is worth having. I'm really happy that I invested into it, because had I gone 74 perimeter and then not had any strength, I just don't know that I would be so hyped on the 74 perimeter. I would probably want it a lot higher. I'm not saying that perimeter is not worth it. I'm not saying that strength over perimeter. I'm saying that they work well together. And I'm glad that since I do have the lower perimeter, that I'm able to compensate by having a high strength. And that strength not only helps me defensively, but also offensively and everywhere else. So all of that being said, pretty sure that's it. Hopefully this wasn't too long. I really tried to make it not too crazy long, but this is the build. This is where we're at right now. So that's it. This is where the build's at right now. And I've really enjoyed it. Now, again, I've got a 6'9" BM Auto Bio build that we already made, and I'm going to play on all night tonight to get you guys content of it. And since Rebirth is Rebirth now and how it works, that build's already maxed out too. It's at a 94 overall right off the rip when I made it, and it has everything I need. I think I'm like a little bit lower on something, but like 97, 98% of the build is fully maxed. I just need to level up like once and then it'll be fully maxed. So give me a day or two and I'll be able to have that for you. Plus, Jay Sandy has a KD build that I'll also need to chop up and edit that video right after this one because it's all the footage and everything is already there. So a lot of stuff coming. We've really been enjoying it. I hope that you guys have too. 2K25 feels really good. I'm enjoying everything. If you guys want anything specific, please let me know. I do have other forms of social media. I actually deleted my Twitter like last year when I like kind of stopped doing this. So I may remake it, but the link below is not going to take you anywhere. But I am on TikTok. I put up the initial dunk meter thing on TikTok before I put it here. YouTube's going to be the main focus. It's where I'm going to put majority of my time. I don't know how much I'm going to put effort into other forms of social media just with having the brand and whatnot and having to focus so much on Instagram with that. So anything you guys want or need is probably going to be there, but also comment below. Let me know what you guys want. Like, what would be worth it? Like, again, I want to put up something about, you know, the dribble pull-ups I'm using or what animations I'm using and why, but also I'm not like dribble god guy. That's not like my thing, but I do see like every time I'm watching creators, people are always like, what dribble pull-up do you use? What dribble pull-up do you use? What dribble pull, like specifically dribble pull-up is a huge one that people ask. So I may just do a video, quick little short one, 5-10 minute of like, these are the ones that I've found to be the best and here's why, and talk about them. But if you guys want stuff like that, little quick short ones, let me know because that gives me easy filler content to throw in and to where it's not super crazy long like our build videos typically are. Hopefully a builder secrets video coming sooner than later, trying to make more builds so I can learn the builder and also trying to figure out what's worth investing into. So like I'm learning about the builder, but we still don't know what is worth having. Is that badge worth getting to silver? Is that badge worth getting to gold? So what's your guys' experience? Again, let me know that too. I appreciate you guys and I'll catch you in the next one.